There's a great little live performance venue here in Clark County. Of course, if you're hungry, you can always grab something from the restaurant or food truck. Maybe you'd rather take a scenic tractor ride or go on a guided tour of the grounds. There's something for everyone here at Huber Orchard and Starlight Distillery, but don't think that distracts the family that owns it all from doing what they do best.
When we wake up every morning, we're farmers first before we open the door to the distillery. When you come visit Starlight, you'll see everything happening right in front of you. You can walk over and watch the grain be milled. You can walk out through the fields and touch the corn and touch the rye in the springtime. You can go in the still house and smell the cooking and the mashing, and come out here to the rick houses and you can walk through the different rick houses and see the barrels and smell the smell that's in here.
Huber wines are well known across the state. But what you may not know about is the world-class brandy and whiskey they make right here, from ingredients they can be certain are of the highest quality.
100% of our corn actually comes from our own property in proper rotation of fruit and vegetables and other crops that we actually grow here.
For Huber wines, folks could come to the farm and see it all for themselves. But for spirits, it was a different story.
The one thing that we wanted was to be able to bring folks here to the farm and show them how it's made. But we couldn't bring people into a still house like this, show them around, let them taste whiskey from the barrel, let them have cocktails, take them on tours, let them be able to buy bottles and have that whole experience like we did in the winery.
That's because Indiana law didn't treat distilleries the same as wineries, something Huber wanted to change.
We're artists. We want to craft and make something, and we're proud of it. So we want to be able to show it off to our friends and family and customers and show them, hey, we made this great whiskey. You got to come here and taste it. And oh, by the way, this is where we grew the corn. This is the still it came out of. These are the barrels it was aged in. Isn't it really a great product? We just didn't want to open a distillery like a factory, produce a product, and sell it on a shelf somewhere else. That was never the goal of Starlight, never the goal of the Huber family.
So they started lobbying Indiana lawmakers to create an artisanal distillery designation so folks could see and sample what they were making up close. It was something that Huber's grandmother had wanted to see happen. And in 2001, he helped make it a reality.
My grandmother always pushed me and said, hey, you need to really think about getting the brandy back. You know, we had as much history, if not more history, in making brandy than we did wine here on this farm.
And of course, his grandmother was right.
We were winning not just awards, but international awards as for being the best brandy in the world.
They built on that reputation to tackle the next objective, whiskey.
You know, we kept knocking on the door for about 10 plus years with legislators saying, hey, what's the difference between brandy and whiskey? And why is it one and not the other? For all practical purposes, we just, the brandy's distilled wine and, whiskey's distilled beer.
Did you catch that? Brandy is basically distilled wine, and whiskey is more or less distilled beer. Remember that the next time you take a sip. By 2013, they worked with other would-be distillers in the state to get the artisanal distiller law passed, and they haven't looked back.
We run both stills. Both stills run almost every day, 365 days a year. We're producing somewhere a little shy of 2,000 barrels of whiskey a year, and then with our vodka production, rum production, and brandy production, tying everything into there.
And now there are several dozen artisanal distillers operating in the state.
If you look through the different Indian distillers, and we're one of them, and the amount of awards hanging on our walls and hanging on our bottles, and you start watching some of the stuff, you'll start seeing Indiana there everywhere. As far as what we're doing, making world-class spirits, the awards are there.
And even though he's an ambassador for all Hoosier spirits, Ted says it's the experience that makes Starlight special.
I think the one thing that sets Starlight apart, not only here in Indiana, but around the world, is our dedication to be a true farmer, all the way to the bottler. So when you come here on property, you'll see vineyards, you'll see fruit, you'll see things that we're distilling into brandy. You'll see rye fields in the springtime. You'll see corn fields in the fall time. Go up and enjoy a cocktail on the patio, and it'll take you in for everything that we do here.
And all it took was 20 some odd years of convincing Indiana lawmakers of the value of homegrown spirits. All it should take you is one glass.